Welcome to Standard Voice News Channel. I am Samira Ibrahim. Here are your top stories for today. The Usman Danfodio University Alumni Association Zamfara State Chapter has honored some personalities. Ex-Army chief says 30 million weapons are in wrong hands in Nigeria. The federal government urged to tackle some issues so as to avoid miserable life in 2021. On business, CBN cut treasury bill sales by 62% to 7.77 trillion naira. On sports, ex-footballer Ikeni Adams empowers 220 entrepreneurs with 16 million naira. And on the international scene, Saudi Arabia resumes international flights. Now the news in details. The Usman Danfodio Alumni Association Zamfara State Chapter has honored some personalities at its first grand reunion in the state on Sunday. Among the awardees were the State Governor Dr. Bello Muhammad Matawalli Maradin, who received an award for his effort in the restoration of peace in Zamfara State. Other recipients of the award were Professor Abdullahi Muhammad Wali Shankafi, a former secretary to the state government, Mrs. Luba Ammani, Mrs. Luba Isa Mayana, Professor Balkisu Aminu Shankafi, Malam Tukur Sani Jangebe, and Dr. Amina Rahama Aminu.
Alhamdulillah, we thank God very much, honestly, for successful event. Everything that we have done is just glory be to God, because we started planning about 3 months back, and from what you have seen, the lectures, the attendance, and the success, we thank God for all that happened, and we pray that God will continue to empower us. Reunion is about establishing the relationship, looking at our strength, especially in Zamfara State. About 60–70% of the graduates in the civil service and even outside are graduates of this university. And you know, as a mother, we have to take something back to that university. You cannot have a mother and somebody that has brought you up and you have reached a maturity stage and you are even enjoying. Then you have forgotten with the mother. Yes, the essence of all this is to see what we can take back to the alma mater.
Other recipients of the award were the Chief Medical Director, Federal Medical Center Gusau, Dr. Muhammad Bello, Justice Gumi, Honorable Kabiru Ahmad Mai Palace, among others. Commenting on the occasion, Professor Balkisu Aminu Shankafi, who spoke on behalf of the awardees, thanked the organizers for honoring them.
I would like to thank the organizers of this program, that is today's grand reunion. We are very grateful for them for finding us worthy and for thinking that we deserve to be awarded and recognized in today's reunion. So thank you very much. And that is for them. And also for all those who travel from far and wide to come and be with us today, I say a big thank you. And I wish you journey mercy back to your destinations. And from my part, I would like to dedicate my own award today to my father, late Madam Aminu Usman Yaro of the Langashi Village, Gorzo Local Government of Kano State. Secondly, I will also dedicate it to my loving and supporting husband, Professor Abdullahi Muhammad Wali Shankafi, who took over from my father for over 20 years of our marriage. Without whom I would not have been here, I would not have been invited to be with you. Thirdly, I dedicate it to my sister also and co-wife, Professor Saadat Abdullahi Shankafi, without whose support and partnership and encouragement, I would not have been able to achieve my professorship.
Also speaking, the State Commissioner for Education, Dr. Ibrahim Abdullahi, who represented Governor Bello Matawalli, commended the organizers for organizing the event.
And was not his own head, and he was even showing way out of the university, and today he is a professor. So there's not anybody that is suitable for the presentation of the importance of alumni than Professor Nasser Yahoui, a brother, a friend, a mentor, and a senior colleague. He was my teacher in 1988-89, and a very humble teacher for that matter. A teacher that if you didn't know an answer to the question, we will probably tell you, Ibrahim, I don't know, because I'm asking several questions.
Angry residents of Shinkafi local government area of Zamfara state took to the street on Saturday to protest the security situation in the area. Shinkafi, like other parts of Zamfara, has witnessed several killings and kidnappings by bandits. The protesters attacked the palace of the emir of Shinkafi, Muhammad Mokwashi, and the residents of political appointees in the state, mostly those appointed to oversee peace dialogues with bandits in Shinkafi local government area of the state. For more details on the story, Rahma Ibrahim Dosara reports.
Zamfara has adopted a policy of engaging armed bandits in dialogue while making efforts to secure the state. Many Nigerians have condemned the policy, saying it encourages criminality, but the state government has defended it, saying many kidnapped victims have been released due to the dialogue and some of the bandits have laid down their arms. Residents of the area, including some of the protesters, told newsmen that the protesters used derogatory terms to accuse the state government and traditional rulers of underreporting their ordeals with the gunmen who frequently attacked their communities at will. The protesters, who damaged the emir's palace, also called for the termination of peace dialogues with the bandits and demanded weapons for self-defense. Residents told newsmen that the latest protest followed the abduction of a popular community volunteer and vigilant, Samaila Lagga, who is said to have been a target of the bandits for a long time. The gunmen abducted Malam Lagga at his residence in Shinkafi on Saturday, leading to the violent protest. They added that the residents called off the protest after a report that Malam Lagga was abandoned by the gunmen at a riverine area in the outskirts of Shinkafi, and the security officials took him to a hospital for medical attention. The police spokesperson in Zamfara, Muhammad Shehu, in a statement said the police have arrested 18 of the protesters for organizing and partaking in an unlawful assembly, illicit demonstration, and damage to public and private properties in Shinkafi. He said the police recovered Din guns, cutlasses, and sticks from those arrested. SP Shehu said a team of police officers and repentant bandits responded quickly to Malam Lagga's arrest and rescued him. Malam Lagga was reunited with his family after he was debriefed. That has been the report. Rahma Ibrahim Dosa reporting for SVTV News Kusa.
The Sokoto State University has invited 722 of its graduated and current students to appear before an investigative panel set up by the school over allegations of result alteration. This was contained in an announcement released by the investigation committee on Wednesday, which said the students were alleged to have combined with some staff of the ICT unit and have their results altered. It was learned that the issue originated from the Pioneer Site 2013 site, where some of the students who couldn't graduate as at when due because of their deficiency in their results confronted some ICT staff of the university and offered them bribe and have their results corrected in return. It was gathered that the suspicion started when some students known from their colleagues to have numerous carry-over courses at their final year, but ended up being cleared and went for youth service, and that throws a big question mark from where the school management got involved in the issue. The shortlisted students are expected to appear before the panel latest 11th January this year. A former chief of staff, 9 Brigade Nigerian Army Ikeja, Colonel Hassan Stan Labo retired, says he is not surprised about the insecurity in Nigeria, as according to him, millions of weapons are in the wrong hands. He also spoke on amnesty for bandits and terrorists, as well as the visit by some security experts to the war front in the northeast. Paying a ransom to kidnappers could actually encourage the acts of kidnapping. However, in the absence of a better option, as it's always the case, relations are compelled to do the needful. He observed that proliferation of small arms light weapons within the shores of the country is fast militarizing the society. The influx of these lethal weapons has brought about violent crimes and promoted extremists at all fronts. According to him, it is a terrible situation with an estimated 30 million small arms light weapons in wrong hands within the country, pointing out that the consequences include stiffer challenges to law enforcement agencies, destabilization of the polity, and availability of weapons for freshly recruited insurgents. No fewer than 19 people have been killed in fresh and reprisal attack in Giwa local government area of Kaduna State. The killings and counter-killings occurred at Kaya community, which shares a boundary with Hayin Kaura village in Dandume local government area of Katsina State. Mr. Samuel Arwan, who is the Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs in Kaduna, confirmed the killings in a statement on Sunday. He disclosed that gunmen numbering about 50 and armed with AK-47 rifles stormed Kaya town at about 6:30 p.m. on Saturday and began shooting sporadically. According to the security reports, the violence began on Friday last week when bandits attacked Kaya town and kidnapped some locals, including 2 married women. But the bandits were fiercely pursued by a combined team of volunteers from Kaya and Hayin Kaura, in keeping with their practice of supporting security efforts in their respective communities. The hope of academic activities restarting soon in the nation's public universities appears threatened as the National Association of Academic Technologists has issued a 14-day strike notice to the federal government over disparity in sharing the 40 billion naira end allowances that was recently released for the 4 university-based unions. This came as Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities expressed disappointment over government's refusal to honor its promise to pay arrears of the new national minimum wage approved since April 2020. Meanwhile, Academic Staff Union of Universities (ASU) has said that National Association of Academic Technologists or any other union should not use it as bait to get anything from the federal government, as it advised National Association of Academic Technologists or any other staff union to fight other battles their own ways. For more details on the story, Svtv Ibrahim reports.
In another development, non-teaching staff union in the universities under the umbrella of Joint Action Committee will hold a crucial meeting on Friday over the recent disparity in the sharing formula of the 40 billion in allowances released by the federal government to the 4 university-based unions. Also part of the agenda at the meeting will be the problem associated with the Integrated Payroll and Personal Information System, IPPIS, the non-implementation of the October 2020 Memorandum of Understanding between the member unions and the government, as well as the non-payment of understanding allowances to members. It will be recalled that the federal government has allocated 75% of the total 40 billion in allowances to the Academic Staff Union of Universities, leaving 25% for the other 3 unions to share. The 3 unions to share the 25% are National Association of Academic Technologists, Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities, and the Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational and Associated Institutions. The development has drawn the ire of the unions, and they are threatening to ensure that universities remain under lock and key till the government addresses the alleged imbalance of the sharing formula. Svtv Ibrahim reporting for SVTV.
About 19 months after the 30,000 new national minimum wage was signed into law by President Muhammadu Buhari, 3 states of Imo, Anambra, and Kogi have refused to implement, bridging the National Minimum Wage Act of 2019. This came as organized labor vowed to battle the affected state in the new year, describing their refusal to pay as wicked and unacceptable. It could be recalled that President Muhammadu Buhari had on April 18, 2019, signed the National Minimum Wage Act into law, repealing the 18,000 Naira National Minimum Wage Act of 2011. In the wake of organized labor's December 31, 2019 deadline to states to conclude all negotiations and reach agreement with labor leaders in the states on implementation, Imo State had before the end of 2019 promised to implement the new minimum wage from January 2020. 1 year after, the Imo State government is still procrastinating on the implementation of the 30,000 Naira new national minimum wage. As Nigerians welcome the new year with little or no optimism, Top players in key areas have expressed concern that except the federal government addresses alarming insecurity, rising inflation and food insecurity, among others, the nation risks having a miserable 2021. Drawn from the economic, security, health, agriculture, and political sectors, they identified critical issues that will shape 2021 in Nigeria, stating that the way government handles them may determine how far the nation will go in the new year. The factors highlighted include banditry, Boko Haram, insurgency, oil prices, inflation, food insecurity, kidnapping, COVID-19, aftermath of NSAS, and discontent over zoning of 2023. For more details on the story, over now to our correspondent, Beauty Abdul Malik.
Last year, Nigeria had experienced high level of insecurity, especially in the northern part. Food crisis, nationwide social unrest resulting from NSAS protests, recession occasioned by the drop in oil prices and COVID-19 pandemic, sharp divisions along ethnic lines and diminished purchasing power resulting from inflation, among others. Going by the cumulative effects of this and the seeming failure of government to arrest the situation, they warn that should the trend continue this year, Africa's most populous nation may be headed for a social crisis. It could be recalled that the country didn't fare better in the 2020 Human Development Index value for 2019, which was 0.539, implying a low ranking in the human development category. Nigeria was positioned at 161 out of 189 countries. The National Bureau of Statistics had in May 2020 said 82.9 million Nigerians, 40% of the country's population, was classified as poor. To avoid a further slide in 2021, experts said that the government must stand up to its responsibilities and offer real governance instead of what was described as lip service and propaganda. Beauty Abdul Malik reporting for Svtv News, Gusau.
The Nigerian Center for Disease Control (NCDC) has reported 917 new COVID-19 cases in the country. The NCDC disclosed this via its verified website late Sunday. Reports indicated that so far 955,429 persons have been tested in the country since the first confirmed COVID-19 case was announced on February 27, 2020. According to the Public Health Agency, the total number of infections in the country now stand at 90,080. For more details on this story, over now to our correspondent, Somaya Dusara.
The center reported 9 new deaths in the past 24 hours in the country. It said 16 states and the Federal Capital Territory recorded the new infections. In the past 24 hours, 255 recoveries were recorded in the country. A breakdown of data provided by the health agency showed that the FCT recorded the highest number of infections for the day with 222 cases, followed by Lagos, Kaduna, and Plateau states, which reported 214, 119, and 92 cases respectively. The other states affected are Nasarawa with 50 new infections, Oyo 41, Adamawa 33, Ondo 32, Abia 28, Ogun 19, Rivers 17, Kano 16, Yobe 14, Edo 8, Anambra 6, Ekiti 5, and Jigawa 1. It said a multi-sectoral National Emergency Operations Center activated at Level 3 continued to coordinate the national response activities. According to it, 917 new confirmed cases and 9 deaths were recorded in the country as of January 3rd. Till date, 90,080 cases had been confirmed, 75,044 discharged, and 1,311 deaths recorded in 36 states and FCT. Suma Idrisa reporting for SBTV News, Gusau.
Let me quickly take you to our business desk for the business updates. Hello, welcome to Business Updates. The Central Bank of Nigeria sold 7.77 trillion worth of secondary market open market operation treasury bill in 2020, grown by 62% from 13.92 trillion sold in 2019. Secondary market open market operation treasury bill is one of the instruments used by the Central Bank of Nigeria to control money supply in the economy. When the CBN wants to reduce money supply, it sells open market operation treasury bill,
and when it wants to increase money, it sells open market operation treasury bills. The sharp decline in open market operation treasury bill sales in 2020 reflects the impact of the Apex Bank decision to exclude local investors, individuals, and corporates from investing in the open market operation bills. The ban, which came into effect on October 23, 2019, was introduced to forestall banks from using open market operation treasury bill to circumvent the 60% minimum loan to deposit ratio directive of the CBN. Thus, the Apex Bank restricted investment in open market operation treasury bill to bank and foreign portfolio investors. This resulted in a steady decline in the open market operation treasury bill sold by the Apex Bank in the first quarter of the year. Financial analysis shown that the CBN sold 4.4 trillion worth in open market operation treasury bill in the first quarter of 2020, up by 18% from 3.37 trillion naira sold in the fourth quarter of 2019, while it repaid 6.13 trillion naira worth of matured bills, translating the net liquidity injection of 2.36 trillion naira. And that's all on the business update. I'm Svtv Ibrahim. Do have a nice day.
Thank you, Fauzia. On sports, over to Abu Sufyan Abubakar.
Hello, welcome to Standard Voice Television Sports Room. I'm Abu Sufyan Abubakar, and as usual, I bring the sports updates. Former football international Mr. Ekene Adams has set aside 16 million naira to be shared to business owners in Kaduna State so as to expand their businesses. He spoke at the commissioning of his empowerment office at Chikun local government area of Kaduna State. According to him, the empowerment program tagged Let's Get Empowered is aimed at providing a lifeline to small and medium-scale business owners in the state. In the first phase of the program, 4.5 million naira was distributed to 45 beneficiaries ranging from medically challenged, the sick persons, the less privileged persons in need of financial support to start their businesses. He said that 220 from Chikun and Kajuru local government areas with genuine business enterprises in need of financial support will benefit from the 12 million naira set aside as life support for their businesses. While breaking the figure down, he said 120 persons within Chikun local government area will benefit, while 100 persons in Kajuru local government area are to get their support based on raffle draws. And that's all we have on sports today. Back to the newsroom.
And on the international scene, Saudi Arabia on Sunday announced the reopening of borders and the resumption of international flights after a 2-week suspension aimed to stem the spread of a new COVID-19 strain. The Ministry of Interior said the government ordered the lifting of precautionary measures related to the spread of a new variant of coronavirus. Saudi Arabia has reported more than 363,000 cases, including over 6,200 deaths, the highest among the Gulf Arab states, but had also reported a high recovery rate. Riyadh suspended international flights and access through land crossings and ports on December 21st. Other Gulf countries, Oman and Kuwait, who had taken similar measures, have also lifted them in recent days. But travelers returning from Britain, South Africa, or any country where the new variant of the coronavirus is spreading are subject to more restrictions. Foreigners coming from those countries must spend 14 days in another country before entering Saudi Arabia and show a negative test. Still on the international scene, Nancy Pelosi, the only woman to serve as U.S. Speaker of the House, was narrowly re-elected to the position Sunday in the deeply divided new Congress that convened in the final weeks of Donald Trump's presidency. Pelosi, 80-year-old, faced a scar when 5 fellow Democrats defected and voted present or for someone else during the floor votes. But the woman, who is third in line to the presidency, secured her fourth and perhaps final non-consecutive term as House Speaker by earning 216 votes versus 209 for Republican leader Kevin McCarthy. In a symbolic gesture, beginning the 117th Congress, McCarthy formally handed the Speaker's gavel over to Pelosi, who raised it in triumph as Democrats cheered and applauded. Madam Pelosi told the chamber that they began the new Congress during a time of extraordinary difficulty. That has been the news from Standard Voice Television. To end the news, a quick look at the major headlines. The Usman Danfodio University Alumni Association Zamfara State Chapter has honored some personalities in the state. Ex-army chief says 30 million weapons are in wrong hands in Nigeria. The federal government urged to tackle some issues so as to avoid miserable life in 2021. On business, CBN cut treasury bill sales by 62% to 7.77 trillion naira. On sport, ex-footballer Ekene Adams empowers 220 entrepreneurs with 60 million naira in Kaduna State. And on the international scene, Saudi Arabia resumes international flights. That's the news. On behalf of the production crew, Head of News and Current Affairs Department, Ibrahim Garbatunau, I am Samira Ibrahim, wishing you a pleasant day. Keep watching Standard Voice Television News. Goodbye.